22-year-old Sabrina Liaiti was sitting outside her family home in Manaus, Brazil, in November of 2018 when she was approached by two young men on a motorbike. The thugs demanded she hand over her cell phone, unaware that Liaiti had been practicing Brazilian jiu-jitsu since she was a teenager. One of the muggers, 18-year-old Magdil da Silva, would come to publicly regret his decision. Liaiti, who'd had 4 of her cell phones stolen in past home invasions, quickly threw the phone in her house and then charged at the men. Da Silva's unidentified accomplice managed to flee on the motorbike, and Da Silva tried to run away on foot. But a neighbor of Liaiti's who'd witnessed the incident blocked him with his car. Liaiti reached the would-be mugger, took him to the pavement and placed him in an armbar, a jiu-jitsu hold that involves using leverage from the hip and legs to trap the arm and potentially even break it at the elbow. Bystanders filmed Da Silva as he screamed in pain and repeatedly cried out, "No more," while Liaiti applied pressure to his arm. At one point, the young woman placed him in a wrist hold as well. She kept Da Silva immobilized until law enforcement arrived at the scene and arrested him for attempted robbery. Liaiti later spoke to a media outlet about the incident and expressed having been fully aware of the dangers, noting that she wouldn't have fought back if the men had been armed. Number 7. Ali Naji. On December 17th of 2022, a man walked into the Dearborn Police Department in Michigan armed with a concealed 9mm handgun. Once inside the lobby, 33-year-old Ali Naji pulled out the weapon and aimed it at the officer behind the desk, who was standing behind bulletproof glass, about 5 feet from him. Naji, who'd stolen the gun earlier in the day, squeezed the trigger, but the gun jammed. Surveillance video would show the police officer, whose identity wasn't revealed, as he slid open a window in the bullet-resistant panel and shot Naji multiple times. He passed away in a local hospital. As per protocol, the officer was placed on paid administrative leave. Michigan State Police launched an investigation to determine Naji's motive for the attempted ambush attack, although early reports indicated that mental illness might have been a factor. Number 6. Philip Hollis. A former British train driver was sentenced to 12 months in prison, suspended for 2 years, at Liverpool Crown Court in March of 2022. A year prior, on March the 13th, Philip Hollis was operating a train due to arrive at Kirkby Station in Knowsley, Merseyside. The expected time of arrival was 6:52 p.m. As shown by a subsequent examination of his phone, Hollis had been exchanging WhatsApp messages about the recent death of motor racing commentator Murray Walker. Hollis sent a message at 6:51 as he was driving between stations and heading into Kirkby. His decision to engage in the conversation, coupled with him reaching for a bag that had fallen on the floor, would prove disastrous, as the distraction translated to him failing to slow down the train. The speed limit for the approach was regulated at 15 miles per hour, but Hollis was driving at 40 miles per hour and only hit the emergency brakes about 60 feet from the start of the platform. The train crashed through the buffers and the metal frame at the end of the line, causing significant damage, which was estimated at over $500,000. The authorities determined that it was through sheer luck that the 12 passengers on board weren't seriously injured. Hollis, whom was reportedly left with PTSD by the incident, pleaded guilty to endangering the safety of people conveyed by railway. Number 5. Philip Nicholas Castabanis. Florida gangster rapper Philip Nicholas Castabanis was spotted by Miami law enforcement pulling out of a Whole Foods parking lot in early 2017. Castabanis, who performed as Stitches, was recognized by his extensive face tattoos, the most distinctive of which was a stitched-up, scarred smile around his mouth. He was stopped after parking his Porsche in a disabled space, an initial bad decision upon which he gradually built during his interaction with the police. The 21-year-old rapper denied having a gun on him upon questioning him and passed an officer a partially smoked joint, saying, "Sorry, officer." However, as law enforcement searched his car, they found a Glock handgun under his seat and 2 magazines loaded with a combined 46 rounds. Castabanis, who often rapped about gun violence and selling drugs, reacted to the discovery by apologizing and saying that He'd thought they were asking about a gun on his person and not in his car. Additionally, a jar with nearly 40 grams of marijuana was recovered from the Porsche. At the time, Castabanis was best known for his song "Brick in Yo Face," which had been viewed millions of times on YouTube and was known to pass out drugs to audience members during his concerts. He had prior arrests and, for the latest offenses, was booked for gun and drug possession. Number 4. San Diego gun owner. In 2019, a trend emerged within Facebook groups populated by gun enthusiasts of them posting photos with loaded firearms aimed at their crotches, with the safety off and the finger on the trigger. The trend was said to have been related to infighting among members of gun groups, particularly as a reaction to the insistence of some owners for trigger discipline. The latter refers to always keeping one's finger off the trigger until ready to open fire. Veteran owners regarded the emphasis on safety as one of annoying obviousness and started uploading the dangerous selfies to get a rise out of owners they regarded as normies for their concerns. Before long, groups exclusively dedicated to the trend started forming. The practice went horribly wrong for one such group member from San Diego, California in August of 2020. He'd uploaded a video of himself pointing his .45 caliber M1911 semi-automatic pistol at his manhood. The gun then discharged. A few moments later, he posted updates to the group, one of which was a photo of his exposed legs with a towel pressed in between them, drops of blood on the floor, and a crumpled copy of the US Constitution. He insisted that it wasn't a joke and wrote that the bullet had hit his scrotum, mattress, box spring, and floor. The man later offered updates from a hospital gurney, revealing that what he'd initially thought had been 2 graze wounds was actually an exit and entrance hole, as the bullet had gone through the skin. He was hailed as a king by the group, and an admin later revealed he'd fully recovered from his gunshot injury. Number 3. Frank Blake. While Virginia man Frank Blake was in prison at Henrico County Jail for an unspecified crime in the summer of 2015, he was visited by 2 women. Both of them claimed to be married to him. As officials looked into the 33-year-old's complicated matrimonial history, they found that the women were his second wife, whom he'd never divorced, and his third wife. However, the authorities also discovered that Blake had married the second woman in September of 2012, before his divorce from his first wife had gone through. Blake was charged with 1 count of bigamy and insisted in court that he didn't know he was committing a felony. Moreover, he claimed that he thought his second marriage didn't count, as it had only lasted for 2 weeks. He referred to his third wife, Jessica, as the woman he loved and with whom he wanted to be with. Blake asked for a lie detector to prove his supposed ignorance, adding, "I ain't no cheater," but eventually pleaded no contest to bigamy and was sentenced to 18 months in prison. Number 2. Peter Addison. In 2007, English teenager Peter Addison and a few of his friends raided an underprivileged children's center in Adlington, Cheshire. In addition to stealing several items, 18-year-old Addison and his friend, Mark Ridgway, also 18, smashed dishware and caused further destruction by letting off fire extinguishers. Before leaving, Addison wrote on a wall in black marker, "Peter Addison was here," as well as "Thanks for the stay." When a volunteer discovered the ransacked site the following day, she assumed that the name on the wall was meant as a decoy to derail law enforcement from finding the real burglars. She reacted in disbelief upon learning that Addison had written his actual name. It only took the police a quick search in a database to find him. His guilt was further underlined by the fact that he was wearing a t-shirt he'd stolen from the center when law enforcement approached him. Both he and Ridgway admitted burglary in the aftermath. Addison was ordered to pay nearly $1,000 in compensation and was given a 1-year conditional discharge, while his partner in crime was also asked to pay compensation and perform 60 hours of unpaid work. Reacting to the incident, a Cheshire police inspector told a media outlet, "There are some pretty stupid criminals around, but to leave your own name at the scene of the crime takes the biscuit." Number 1. Zafar Kuzu. 24-year-old Turkish man Zafar Kuzu was sentenced to community service in 2019 after he'd been convicted of wounding in the city of Erzurum in the country's northeast. He decided to get out of the court-mandated work and put together a dangerous plan that he hoped would see him hospitalized. Kuzu called two friends and asked one of them to shoot him in the back with a shotgun so that he'd be injured and thus considered unfit to serve out the remainder of his sentence. His unidentified companions strapped two pillows to his back, believing they'd absorb the brunt of the blast's impact. Kuzu's friend, who was only reported as being 18 years old, then shot him. The buckshot ripped through the improvised padding and left Kuzu with critical injuries. His friends tried to take him to a local hospital, but he died before they could leave the house. The emergency services removed Kuzu's body from the home and subsequently sent it for an autopsy at the Forensic Medical Institute in Istanbul. The shotgun was seized by law enforcement and Kuzu's companions were arrested. Thanks for watching. Would you rather have all your bad decisions be made into a movie or have your parents be in charge of your dating life? Let us know in the comment section below.